Change Catalyst. This is Kingsley Akachiko once more. Happy Children's Day, May 27th. Alright, so I want to talk about the children as change catalysts. Children are to be captured young for change. Okay, Bible had already said, train up the child in the way he should go, and when he's old, he's not depart from it. Very important. So before now, we have when children are dressed with this rough hair and aspiring measures, we call them sports children, we call them hooligans. But these days we now have them in their rascalities as a Gen generation. That then, the Gen Z generation is now giving room for children to be abnormal, yet accepted by society to be a juvenile or age-related situation. But that doesn't mean the parental discipline should also disappear. Okay? We raise a generation where the generation where you give birth to children that live with smart gadgets, making the biblical comment in the end time there will be multiple information. See, when the Bible said in the end time there will be too much information, it's so real, so real, so real. See, you could see, I could just check my phone and I'll see Tinubu and his child sitting. That's the president. I could see Donald Trump. When somebody just video Donald Trump walking down the street, unknowingly to him. There is too much information. This information won't easily reach you before. You see two fighting, people fighting, you see senators quarreling. These are information that will not reach a normal man or ordinary person in a normal day. But because of the generation where we are, informations are just surplus, lots of information. This information are now available to everybody, rich, poor, of any age group, and that is why children need to be cared for, most especially because information coming into you will build in you, and that determines what comes out of you. And what comes out of you is what now destroys or makes you. Okay? Children have smart gadgets that give them access to this information as well as you, the elderly person, gets that information. Now, what do we have to do? We have to protect children from information. They are hungry, they are seeking, they are constantly looking for, their heart is obviously empty, and they are looking for where information to fill it and form their personality. Take a look at these two videos and compare.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
Who?
Hallowed be thy name.
Howard be thy name?
Hallowed be thy name.
What is God's name?
Howard.
Who?
Howard.
Howard? How do you know his name is Howard?
Because
Because what?
our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
Who?
Hallowed be thy name.
Howard be thy name?
Hallowed be thy name.
What is God's name?
Howard.
Who?
Howard.
Howard?
Help the baby grow.
No! You did! The Jesus don't put the baby in mama belly. You did!
I know, but Jesus helped the baby grow.
No! You did! The Jesus don't put the baby in mama belly. You
Now, I know you've seen these videos, and you can see how the other child is trying to use his creativity or his thinking to form or make meaning of what life is. While in the other video, he's deciding to now, the other child, the male baby, is trying to define what story you give to them and how realistic it can be with what they are already teaching from the internet and from the world in general. These exposures are very important. We have to control. So if you check most of the sports kids, you will hear when they are grown up, you hear, since I was born, my parents never raised their hands on me. Who are you to remove the standard of God when he said, spare your brother, spoil the child? We cannot take out the God factor. No, we cannot take out the God factor. It's only foolishness for us to think we can take out the God factor. If you want your child to be disciplined and a future leader for the generation we're going to, don't take out the God factor. Very important, very paramount. Else, you see that child you're liking, that child, he does something, no correction, she does something, no correction. In years to come, that child may end up an homosexual, a prostitute, a thief, a hooligan, drug addict. As your favorite child, the apple of your eye, because you did not discipline. Okay? Let's make the change very obvious this time. As we embrace the new generation, the Gen Z generation, let's also apply the rod of correction to the Gen Z's lifestyle. See, the Gen Z in there is amount of information. What they do with it, with the social media influence and the superstars influence, is of a very big high risk to have our future being portrayed. So one day you will look at a child will look at their grandparents and be like, wow, my grandparents was modest. But what is modesty? Modesty will be dressing like me with hair and the rest. That doesn't count anyway. But to what extent was discipline inculcated in that child? I think we should take a lot of time to discipline. Then let's in Nigeria schooling system, let's start teaching moral, the real concept of moral. Moral should not be a course in social study. It should not become a standard course that from primary one down to SS3 is moral course, religious morality, ethnic morality, political morality, all kind of morality. Because that's the specific information we give to the growing generation. This Gen Z generation will give birth to an alpha generation that will not only please God, but make Nigeria proud. To remain change catalyst, and this time we're trying to prepare the future. Join us to prepare the future for a female child. Get them a bag. Don't sponsor, um, um, useful exuberance in them. They are still children, no matter they are teenage or youths. Okay? But rather, get them talking, get them involved, or get them right, morally and otherwise. This is how we get it. This is change catalyst. We create the change, we depend on change. One day, this will be a testimony for a family that paid attention. You cannot separate the godly factor from training the child. Over and out, this is when kids say change catalyst, creating change and remaining on change.